ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us in today's edition of your favorite program, Planet Rights, on Canal International. In today's edition of the program, we are going to be talking about palm oil production in Cameroon, a commodity that's in high demand, not just by households, but equally by industries. And in today's edition of the program, we are going to be looking at the possibility of increasing production, a production that currently faces a deficit of about 165,000 tons. We are going to be looking at the possibility of Cameroon increasing its palm oil production without necessarily expanding the size of the farms, notably talking about cutting down trees to be able to set up new farms. Stay with us and we shall be right back. With a current demand of about 600,000 tons against a current supply of 465,000 tons, palm oil production in Cameroon suffers a current deficit. Even though Cameroon palm oil production has witnessed a steady growth from about 1.35% in 2017 to about 10.71% in 2020, this production has not been able to meet up with demand from households and industries. With increase in demand, a suitable climate and forest landscape, Cameroon is keen on increasing the supply of palm oil, what may signal danger for biodiversity conservation, as expansion could cause deforestation, loss in fauna and flora species, greenhouse gas emissions, thereby accelerating climate change amongst others. In an effort to ensure sustainable palm oil production in Cameroon, International Conservation Organization WWF with its partners implemented a 6-year project to improve the management of oil palm landscapes in a project dubbed the Oil Palm Adaptative Landscape OPAL project, which ran from 2015 to 2021. The project envisaged 3 principal outcomes, which included providing access to new information and analysis on palm oil to the wider science community, effective communication and synergy among stakeholders in the sector, and influencing decision-making processes with evidence findings and research methods proposed by the project. To achieve these objectives, the OPAL project engaged the government of Cameroon, actors of the palm oil production chain, notably agro-industries, smallholders and civil society organizations, with the goal of pushing business, promoting environmental sustainability, what palm oil producers describe as a breakthrough.
The OPAL game, in terms of sustainability, has helped us a lot. It was very, very interesting because we had to look on possibilities of increasing our productivity without necessarily increasing our surface area, and relations with small holdings, village plantation holders, and also with those who are buying our products to increase production as to supply them without shortage. In fact, since then it has been very fruitful because our company, first of all, has undertaken certain norms, some international norms like ISO 14001, RSPO, we're engaged in RSPO, which oblige us to carry out so many studies before we can even break down any bit of forest to plant. So since then we have not been doing extensions.
There has equally been increased collaboration between agro-industries and smallholders.
So in the morning like that, we just come in the morning and allocate the workers what to do, some to apply fertilizer application, watering, weeding, prophylactic. We keep the surrounding clean so that the insects should not come and destroy the young plants. So all this work on tax. So if you achieve your tax, you have your full pay. We use it for ourselves for extension. Let's say like the buncha, mungo, Mambeta, Milwani, some places, and then customers to come and buy. Yes, smallholders, of course.
The OPAL project brought stakeholders together, and through the companion model and game, agro-industries understood better the dynamics of the palm oil value chain and used the new strategy to bring them closer to smallholders, thereby increasing production.
One of the reasons why many smallholdings were not coming to us, we discovered it at that OPAL game, because they wanted ready money to also follow up with their labor and maintenance of their farm. And then during the off-season, they were not just coming because locally oil prices were higher than what the government has fixed for us. And since we could not buy their products for higher prices, they would prefer to go to a local market since production used to go down. For that, Sokapam took certain measures to try to ameliorate it, to ameliorate the situation. We could not increase the price of purchase because it is fixed by the state since from the year 2000. What our management did, our Director General increased the incentives, like to do road maintenance, to give some bonuses, which is based on the quantity of production the local farmer supplies to us. This adjustment in management techniques motivated many farmers to come to us.
In an effort to help smallholders reduce production costs, improve productivity and obtain better prices through collective bargaining, the OPAL project organized smallholders into cooperatives, what didn't come without challenges.
In terms of the challenges that we've encountered so far in our work with smallholders, I think we need to underscore a couple. The very first one, smallholders still lack the resources, because supplying to agro-industries means having, for instance, tractors or other means of transportation. At the level of the farms too, they still lack the capacity to mobilize the necessary resources to acquire all the different farm inputs that they need. So in terms of what should be and what is, they are still quite below the limits.
Research was one of the key aspects of the OPAL project. A number of research projects focused on the socio-economic and environmental impact of palm oil production in Cameroon were conducted. The results of the findings have been used to inform the designing of a strategy for the sustainable development of the palm oil sector in Cameroon. Thank you so much for joining us on this segment of the program. We are currently receiving the Business and Industry Assistant for the Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF Cameroon. She is Madame Fideline Mborengong. Thank you so much for joining us on this segment of the program.
Thank you so much for having me, Gina. It's always a pleasure.
Now we're talking about sustainable palm oil production. My first question to you is, why is WWF interested in the palm oil sector in Cameroon?
So basically, WWF is as we all know, is an international conservation organization, and our mission is basically creating an environment where humans live in harmony with nature. So late 2000s, we realized there was a global increase in the demand for palm oil internationally,
okay.
Cameroon inclusive. As a result, so many agro-industries were reaching out to Cameroon to request land for palm oil production. So I think we had about 6 companies requesting close to 1 million hectares of land for palm oil production in Cameroon. And so generally palm oil production has its benefits, like economic benefits, employment and all of that to the country. But also,
and it also has a growing market.
Exactly, it has a growing market, but it also has a lot of negative impact if not done correctly. And here we are talking about issues around deforestation, biodiversity loss, social conflicts. So this is actually like what generated interest for WWF to get involved in palm oil production, because we realized that if not done sustainably, this was going to have like enormous impact, especially because we realized most of the land that was being requested for was in ecologically sensitive areas.
And concretely, what has your organization been doing in terms of promoting sustainable palm oil production in Cameroon?
So WWF officially started its engagement in the palm oil sector in 2012.
Okay.
So we started with like an ad hoc paper on palm oil development in Cameroon. It was basically giving certain precedent on the context on what palm oil development was and what sustainable palm oil will look like. And after that, under the WWF, under the patronage of the Ministry of Agriculture, organized like the first national palm oil dialogue to bring together all the stakeholders in the sector to have a conversation on like how do we do palm oil sustainably. So in the last 5-6 years, WWF has been working in different areas from the field level to the policy level. So we are engaging the different stakeholders within the value chain for smallholders and agro-industries. It's mainly around best practices on how palm oil production is done. For agro-industries, we are working with them towards getting the RSPO certification schemes, which is like a tool that is used to promote sustainability in the palm oil sector. And with the government, we are working on putting in place policies that are going to promote sustainable development of palm oil. And here I'm talking of the working with the government for the elaboration of the National Sustainable Palm Oil Strategy, which is going to serve as a roadmap when it comes to the development of palm oil in Cameroon generally.
Now, when you look at the Cameroonian market, you realize that the demand for palm oil is growing, which means there is a need to step up supply. But the question that comes to mind is what can be done to increase palm oil production in Cameroon at the same time protecting the environment?
Yeah, if we look back at some of the challenges we are facing in the sector, one of the main issue is we have like our plantations. Some of them are old, some of them are dating back to
some of them are very aging, dating back to the
colonial era. So there is need for replanting. We also have a challenge when it comes to our extraction rates and extraction rates here. We are talking
about the methods.
Yes, the methods, and also like really the crude palm oil that is pulled out from the north when they are harvested. So because of the way it's done, I think for agro-industries we are currently between 19 to 21% extraction rate, but in the world, most in Indonesia and Malaysia is about 25, and for smallholders it's between 13 and 15. So we have a low extraction rate. So I think basically what we really need to do in the past, like the approach has been like maybe expansion, but we really need to work on improving yields in terms of like seedlings, like providing smallholders with improved seedlings, yes, for their farms, and then also issues around fertilization and all of that. Yeah.
And do you think this is actually going to be enough to protect the environment if well done?
Because
there are still people who may want to expand. There are some companies who may want to expand to open up new farms to be able to create palm oil plantations. With this method you're talking about, how optimistic, how confident are you that is going to help to protect the environment?
So as a start, basically the national palm oil strategy that is still to be validated gives like maybe strategic orientation on the approach that the government is now willing to take, and the government is more focused on promoting smallholder schemes rather than maybe vast agro-industries, which comes with like mass deforestation. So the approach is to promote more of like smallholder schemes within the context of the strategy, which we think is an approach that is going to contribute in like reducing like massive deforestation when it comes to palm oil production. So these are just first steps.
Just a question, I'm not trying to cut you there. Are the palm oil producers receptive to this new idea that you are proposing in collaboration with the government of Cameroon?
Well, the whole process has been very inclusive, which means like all the stakeholders in the palm oil value chain are giving their contributions. Like everyone has a stake in the way the strategy is being framed. So I guess stakeholders are open to this approach.
Well, on that positive note, it brings me to my next question. That's the oil palm adaptive landscapes. That's OPAL, a project you implemented and just ended. Can you tell us what this project was all about, the OPAL project?
So the Oil Palm Adaptive Landscape Project is a research project that focuses on promoting the sustainable management of landscapes in 3 continents, that's Asia, Africa and Latin America. And the project was implemented in Cameroon, Indonesia and Colombia.
Okay.
So what we were basically doing was to use science to contribute in the sustainable, carry out research to contribute in the sustainable development of palm oil in these different countries. So the project had 3 main objectives. The first one was to bring information and data to the wider, to generate data and information for the wider science community. And the second one was really to build engagement and commitment between stakeholders within the palm oil sector. And the last one now was to use all of the information that has been generated within the project to be able to influence policy changes, sustainable policy changes in all the different countries when it comes to the palm oil, when it comes to palm oil development generally.
And generally, what were some of the results that you obtained during this period of the OPAL project?
So we had a couple of results that came out from this project. So we have a lot of data when it comes to like data and information when it comes to the palm oil sector in Cameroon, and yes, ranging from like research on how to promote sustainability, research on soil fertility, information on landscape management, and we also have like on the whole management of the sectors, like an approach of promoting either artisanal milling and all of that. We had research in all these different areas, and most of the research that we did are like a main input when it comes to the strategy, because we are using this report to be able to influence the national palm oil strategy. And also within the context of this project, we had an opportunity, because one of the main objectives was building stakeholder engagement between within the sector. So we had the opportunity of like setting up cooperatives for smallholders and also trying to build closer engagements with smallholders and agro-industries.
What were some of the challenges? You certainly had some challenges putting together this project.
Yeah, definitely we had a key challenges. I think one of the main challenges was it was difficult to really function in all the areas, or in setting up like cooperatives in all the areas that we had intended to, like in all the different palm oil production areas in Cameroon. We couldn't implement like the creation of cooperatives in all these areas. And also in terms of time frame, it's true the project was for 6 years, but there's so much we wanted to do still with regards to research and all of that, like focusing more on the socioeconomic impact of palm oil development, which we didn't really do within the context of this program. Yeah.
Now, last but not the least, what are the prospects for sustainable palm oil production in Cameroon?
We actually have the production, like the goal of the government is really to meet the rising demand, and we have the capacity in Cameroon to meet this demand. But what we need to do is really to reflect on how we promote sustainability within the sector. And I think like in terms of prospect, the first step is actually really getting the national sustainable palm oil strategy validated, and then elaborating and then validating an action plan for the strategy, and then really implementing the action plan. So for me, I think like these are really the prospects if we really want to move towards increasing production.
Thank you so much, Madam Borungong, for talking to us.
Thank you, Gina. It was a pleasure.
With a current demand of about 600,000 tons and a current supply of about 465,000 tons, palm oil production in Cameroon can be said to be facing a current deficit. The government of Cameroon has been working hard to improve on the production of palm oil in Cameroon, but this may also signal a danger for conservation, as this might pose a problem of deforestation. How can the government do to promote sustainable palm oil production in the Republic of Cameroon? That is what we are going to be talking about about in this segment of the program Planet Rise. And to discuss this, we are receiving the Director of Conservation and Management of Natural Resources at the Ministry of Environment, Nature Protection and Sustainable Development. He's equally the National Coordinator of the program Reduction of Emission from Deforestation and Forest Degradation. He's none other than Professor Bring. Thank you so much for joining us in this edition of the program, Prof.
Merci, madame.
Now, the government of Cameroon has always been very keen about sustainable production of palm oil as well as other products in the country. My first question is, why is the government of Cameroon committed to making palm oil production more sustainable?
Alors écoutez, la production d'huile de palme, comme toutes les autres commodités agricoles, ont besoin d'espace. Et l'espace approprié pour ce genre de spéculation, c'est l'espace forestier actuellement qui est le plus sollicité. Vous imaginez donc pendant que nous faisons des efforts pour nous engager dans tous ces processus qui nous permettent de protéger l'environnement, notamment à travers nos différents engagements dans le cadre de la lutte contre les changements climatiques, il est de notre devoir de tout temps, reconnaissant que l'huile de palme a une certaine valeur pour notre économie, pour notre alimentation, pour notre vie, nous devrons également ouvrir le débat sur la nécessité de préserver les espaces pour lesquels nous avons pris des engagements et qui pourraient être menacés et remettre en cause certains de nos engagements environnementaux.
And concretely, when we talk about the government of Cameroon trying to promote sustainable palm oil production, what actions have been taken by the government on the ground to make sure this is a reality?
Écoutez, le débat actuellement, c'est de trouver justement cette solution qui peut être définitive ou efficace, permettant une production normale d'huile de palme, tout en préservant les espaces forestiers qui sont les plus menacés par cette spéculation. Et nous avons pensé qu'en termes de durabilité, on devrait de plus en plus intégrer les aspects d'intensification. C'est-à-dire, qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire pour améliorer la production en gardant les espaces actuels qui sont déjà occupés par les plantations d'huile de palme? Voilà la question de durabilité. Peut-on parvenir à optimiser la production tout en évitant qu'il y ait de nouveaux espaces qui seront défrichés dans l'espace forestier afin d'améliorer la production d'huile de palme? Voilà donc autant de questions que nous pouvons nous poser pour interroger cette durabilité. Alors là, ça suppose que les techniciens du domaine de l'agriculture, les promoteurs même de ces activités devraient peut-être réfléchir pour se dire que dans les mêmes proportions d'espace, on peut améliorer cette production-là sans affecter les forêts. Est-ce possible? La question reste ouverte, mais des réponses ont déjà été apportées, notamment avec la feuille de route sur la promotion de la cacaoculture sans déforestation. C'est un concept qui est validé par le gouvernement à travers le ministère de l'Agriculture et du Développement rural. Et nous avons également donné notre onction ainsi que le ministère du Commerce pour que ce concept fasse son chemin et que nous parvenons à cette durabilité. Est-ce que la même chose ne peut pas se faire avec le secteur de l'huile de palme? Je crois qu'on peut réfléchir et voir dans quelle mesure on peut améliorer la production sans déforester.
Now, just one question. There are several palm oil producing companies in Cameroon, and I just want to find out from you, as somebody who is an expert in this sector, have you people had some kind of resistance, or have these palm oil producers been cooperative with the government's vision of making this sector more sustainable?
No,
because we have seen situations where government lays out very interesting policies, but at the end of the day, the actors on the ground don't really follow this.
Nous n'avons pas, je ne peux pas parler d'une situation de conflit. Il faut qu'on soit clair. Nous essayons de préserver nos intérêts à la fois par rapport à nos engagements sur le plan de la protection de l'environnement. Vous le savez très bien, nous nous sommes engagés dans le cadre de l'accord de Paris à réduire de 32% les émissions de gaz à effet de serre. Et le support qui peut nous permettre d'atteindre ces objectifs, entre autres, c'est le support forestier à travers sa capacité d'absorption et de séquestration de carbone. Et nous ne pouvons pas ne pas tenir compte de cet engagement-là dans notre préoccupation de préserver l'espace forestier. C'est dans cette logique que nous voulons porter à l'attention des producteurs la nécessité pour eux de tenir compte de l'engagement du Cameroun dans ce processus. De l'autre côté, la production, la demande en production, vous l'avez dit, est aujourd'hui autour de 600 000 tonnes, alors que le niveau de production actuel est de 450 000 tonnes. Donc il y a un gap de 150 000 tonnes à satisfaire. Mais est-ce la solution? C'est seulement de déforester pour augmenter la capacité de production? C'est à ça que nous devrons tous trouver une réponse. Donc le gouvernement s'est engagé dans le cadre du processus de validation de la feuille de route de la cacaoculture sans déforestation. Si le secteur de l'huile de palme peut également porter à l'attention du gouvernement une proposition de durabilité similaire, je crois qu'on pourrait avancer et préserver les intérêts des uns et des autres sans pouvoir nécessairement tomber dans la logique des conflits ou de bras de fer, pour pouvoir imposer à tout prix la logique de la conservation tous azimuts, alors qu'en face peut-être qu'il y a des besoins de production agricole. Donc le plus important, c'est de trouver un terrain d'entente, une solution durable qui puisse nous permettre de satisfaire les deux interpellations en quelque sorte.
And laying down these modalities you're talking about should have some challenges. Can you tell us about some of the challenges in making sustainable production of palm oil in Cameroon a reality?
En fait, dans la réalité, je peux me prononcer en disant que peut-être qu'il y a un réflexe vers la facilité. La facilité veut dire quoi? Il y a l'espace forestier qu'on peut défricher et augmenter les surfaces de plantation. Okay? Bon, peut-être qu'il faut, face à notre interpellation de la part du gouvernement, que les promoteurs fassent l'effort de changer de paradigme et d'imaginer que nous pouvons peut-être trouver des solutions sans forcément continuer de manière tous azimuts à déforester pour pouvoir créer les espaces de plantation. Voilà le challenge. Donc, comme je l'ai dit, je ne perçois pas à travers la position de nos responsables au niveau du ministère de l'Environnement, du ministère de l'Agriculture, qu'il y a comme une volonté de blocage. Mais je voudrais que vous teniez compte du fait que nos engagements à l'international nous amènent en quelque sorte à nous positionner et à avoir quand même une image de sérieux dans ce que nous avons pris comme engagement. Si vous imaginez un instant que le Cameroun bénéficie d'un apport en financement important en termes de compensation, parce que nous avons fait des efforts de conservation et de séquestration de carbone, et qu'en même temps nous signons peut-être des autorisations d'exploitation ou d'extension des plantations d'huile de palme, de cacao, de DVA, et tout de suite on se met dans une position où nous nous contredisons. Donc le challenge véritable, c'est de dire que oui, nous avons reçu un accompagnement de la part de la communauté internationale parce que nous avons fait des efforts de conservation pour séquestrer le carbone, et que face à ça, nous devrons donc apporter des garanties pour respecter au moins cet engagement de financement que nous avons reçu, et qui suppose que nous devrons préserver les espaces que nous avons déclarés à la conservation et permettre que le rôle de régulation soit effectivement joué.
Merci beaucoup, Professeur Bouing, d'avoir accepté notre invitation. Thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup, madame.
And well, that was how we saw it for today's edition of your program Planet Rights on Canal International. I've been Regina Leke-Tandak, thanking you for watching and inviting you to take another rendezvous with us in a fortnight. Goodbye and God bless.